Okay, here we go.
Okay, to get started, the first thing you're probably going to want to be doing is, of course, check your oil, you know, your fluid levels and everything. And then the key's with the ignition. You're going to turn this key on, and these lights are all going to light up. The first light's battery, the next one's your glow plug, it's for preheating your engine, your oil level, and your glycol or coolant level. Those are all going to come on, and you turn the key on, and then once they'll start dropping off, and the glow plugs are heating up, then once you get to that point, then you just go ahead and crank it on. Your engine's going to let it warm up a little bit. Right away, you're going to see pressures on your hydraulic side off your pump here. Comes up, and you'll start off at say 500 pounds of system pressure. That's your system pressure. Okay, that's going to maintain that, you know, fluctuate just a skosh. But whenever you turn the agitators on, that's going to drop, and that's not unusual because you're taking the load off of that pump. The motor's up on top. So you're going to see that drop, and that's not a problem. But just basic system pressure will be around 500 pounds. That's right here.
Okay. All right, now that over there, what is the battery? It might take a little while the colder it gets.
Right. It may, you know, like on a warmer day, those lights are going to clear. You'll be able to probably start a little bit quicker. But just to be on the safe side, I just turn that key on, give it 30, 45 seconds.
Let them clear.
Wait for them to light up. Yeah, let them light up. And then they're going to drop out. And if they stay lit, then that's telling you that your battery's low, or your oil level's low, or your glycol, if they stay lit.
Okay.
So that's just your safety system, basically. For
Glycol being the antifreeze,
yep.
Whatever.
So if it says the oil level is low, what do we do?
You shut it off, and then you'd be going. That's a good question. You go here, and the yellow dipstick with the little oil can on it, that's your dipstick, check your levels.
Okay.
And you can refer to your manual.
What kind of oil is this? Regular motor oil, 30 weight?
Refer to your manual.
Yeah.
It'll tell you exactly what. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what that is.
I got it.
Okay.
And the reason why we're not starting this up because the engine's so loud and we're in a building, so
Easier to hear.
yeah.
Makes a lot of noise.
Okay, you can get a shot of this up here before you go to the back.
Okay.
What you've got is the block with the handle on it, your directional control. So right now with those levers straight up, that's neutral.
Neutral.
And then pull back would be, I'm going to say counterclockwise.
Okay.
And then back to neutral.
Back to neutral, let it stop.
And then the other direction would be clockwise.
Okay.
But I mean, we'll be able to look into the Cadillac to see which way that is, but it is directional.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, then the next block right next to it with the knob on it.
Right here.
That one there. That's your speed control. Generally, you're going to be running, say, 30 RPM. The numbers that are on that plate don't really make diddly. I mean,
yeah.
Just kind of a reference number.
It's just a reference number. You can actually see the coupler on top of the agitator, and you just be counting that to get your 30 RPM.
Okay.
So by loosening that black knob, you can adjust that speed by moving that lever. Just like that, and then tighten it up.
Okay.
Generally, you don't even mess with that. I mean, once it's set to around 30 RPM, then you're good. You don't want to go real fast where it's like Martha Stewart making butter. You know, I mean, you just want just a slow movement, so it'll heat up on top.
Let's see.
Pull straight up.
That's it.
That's your loading chute. Pull straight out.
Okay.
And then that lets
Down, and then that would go back in there to lock it up.
right, and the lid that just fell down there is where you set your bag. You rip your bag or slice your bag, and then just lift that door up, and it'll drop in.
Down it goes.
Yeah.
Can you get an interior picture of the tank? If you have a light on that?
No. Or at least I don't think I do.
Both sides are the same.
Yeah, we'll just leave it up. We're going to be dumping in just a second.
Okay.
Okay.
150.
This is your Beckett burner. When it's running, you're going to be, say, between 130 and 140 PSI. It's actually tagged here on the side. It says 140. Yesterday, he was running, say, at 135, 130, I believe. And so whenever you turn your power on, when you turn your burner on, it's going to go through a cycle where you'll hear the fan come on, you'll hear ignition. After your fuel pressure goes up, you'll see ignition, and there's two safeties mainly on this, to where there's a photo cell. If it doesn't see a flame, it's not going to ignite, and it'll shut this solenoid off for fuel. There's also the igniter probes in there, and one of them set up for like the temperature probe, to where it senses temperature. If it doesn't sense temperature, it's not going to ignite.
Okay.
Okay, then it'll start a cycle over. It'll do that 3 times before you have to restart it here.
Okay.
And that's so that you don't have that ignition or fuel dumping in there and not igniting. So occasionally, say if it doesn't want to ignite, you can take these screws loose, lift this up, and you can clean that photocell off with a Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol. And then make sure it's good and clean, close that back up. Generally, you don't have problems with your probes. That's usually the only thing that'll maybe give you fits there.
Okay.
Does that photo cell
That
have
right
an
there.
exterior cover over it where you can reach up here and wipe it off? Or is it just, it don't have another glass, outside glass over
No,
above
it does not.
It's just the interior photo cell.
Right, and that's a good question. It's got 2 yellow wires going to it. You'll recognize it as being a photocell.
Okay.
You just clean that off, you're ready to go. And then here, with the ignition being on, you're going to have the digital control. It'll come up at the actual temperature, and then if you wanted to increase or decrease that, you push this P. It'll come up SP, and then it'll flash, and then you can raise with this arrow your target temperature or lower it, and then once you've retained that number, then you just hit that P again, and it'll hold it. So
And roughly what we're shooting is right around 400 degrees.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and it depends. The hotter the material, the more fluid, the more viscous it is, to where, you know, it'll all depend how you want that to come out on your rivet.
Okay.
This light will light up. It's got to overheat at 500 degrees. If it overheats to 500, it'll shut down. This light will come on, and it'll stay on until you turn it off, and then turn it back on, you know, after it cools down. And that's all built into that.
Okay.
You also have another exterior gauge to where it's going to read, say, within 10 degrees of your target temperature. It's not unusual, now that I've mentioned that, for this to overrun a little bit, so you can compensate for that. It's the differential, say around 10 degrees. Yesterday, I think it was going up, what, 15, 20 over?
Yeah. Yeah.
We can compensate for that by bringing this down.
Right.
Excuse me. This is where your material is exiting the kettle. It's got the arrow for direction. Counterclockwise is closed, clockwise is opening. When we get to the point where we're going to open that up, you just want to open that up slowly until you get used to it. That's a plug valve. So as you're opening that up, it's pulling that plug out. The further out, the more flow you're going to get. And then it comes out of this chute into your kettle.
Okay.
Both kettles are the same as far as how they work.
Same function.
The main functions are identical, other than being just side by side. And you can tell that, say, one motor's facing you this direction, one facing the other direction.
And the water container right here, as what was told to us yesterday, is probably a good thing to have.
Just
Safety
safe.
feature, not only just for us to drink, but in case some of that hot stuff gets on you, you got
cool
something
off.
to cool it on. And, yeah.
That's something I'm glad you mentioned that. It's very critical that you have hard sole shoes, long sleeves, long pants. There is a safety kit that comes with this. It includes a helmet with face shield, your cape, and some gloves, some insulated gloves. Just keep in mind that material's coming out of there 400 plus degrees, and You can almost imagine what that'd be like getting that right on your skin because it'll cook you. Yeah. So extremely important to be careful. Everything on it's hot, you have to be careful. And as these, we went through this a little bit yesterday.
Yep.
This is your door to open up to where you can see your burner plate.
Okay.
The flame goes straight up, it hits that deflector plate, dissipates the heat around the kettle to heat, and then there's actually a core that goes up into, say, 15 to 18 inches inside the kettle where you're getting that, you're heating that core also.
Transfer up in the center.
All right, you were hitting it yesterday, and to show that.
It's just a plate that's hanging there.
Yeah.
And it's on a hook. And the reason why we have that is because of expansion. And occasionally open this up and make sure, see if you're going down a bumpy road or something like that. It takes quite a bit for that to come loose, and it'll hang there.
Okay.
So that's just something, occasionally just look to see if, you're getting a good flame, and then the other thing is that plate is hanging.
And you said it kind of spreads the heat out around the kettle. Keeps it from just going in that one.
And we probably got pictures of that yesterday.
Yeah, we did, man.
So that kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like.
Yeah.
Right.
The whole outside of this unit is insulated. This is insulated. All of this entire surface has the thermal barrier on it. So.
Okay.
Okay, toolboxes, of course. You have a lift gate here that you can, maybe in the future, what you may want to be doing is, say, loading up some, even loading your material. You could set it on there and load it up, or you can put applicators on it, your hand applicators if need be. Pick it up and you can roll them on. The hydraulic system for your lift gate is separate of your hydraulic system for your agitators. That's the main purpose of the auxiliary engine one, provide power to your Beckett burner. Beckett burners are very very voltage sensitive. They got to have the proper voltage, otherwise they're not going to work correctly either. So, kind of got off.
Which burners did you?
On the auxiliary engine, the main thing would be your hydraulics for your agitators and power to your Beckett burner.
Okay.
And so this system for the lift gate is separate.
You got a little small pump.
Yep, little
Where you put your
hydraulic
in
pump.
there and everything right there.
And it runs off of power, which is being charged either by the chassis or by your auxiliary engine. We'd have to look at a print to see which way that is. Then up front you have your controls for your aero board. And that pretty much, you have any other questions?
Diesel goes over there. Urea. Does this use that urea stuff in,
Yes.
in the diesel system?
Yeah, it's got the DEF.
DF.
Almost anything anymore has that.
And it's got a AM/FM radio. I cannot believe that.
Seriously.
And an air conditioner.
Yeah.
My goodness.
You're glad you have that later in the season.
All right, I'm turning it off. Yeah. I think
You're
that.
good, boys.